Yep, it's almost dark 30, so I'll get this over with quick because the work has been done for today. What is that work, you're asking? Well, hang on, let me tell you who I am first. Hey everybody, my name is Sam. Angela would be right here, and we're Grand Acre Homestead. Welcome back to the next part of finishing out this storage shed to turn it into a soap shack slash home office slash going to be fancier than our house setup for my wife Angela and her small business of soap making. In this evening's episode, what I'm going to be doing is scabbing on and beefing up the rafters to give us enough depth to mount our insulation and insulating that roof. That's right, Sam's taking over so Angela doesn't have to. Let's go. Alright, with my Mickey Mouse ears ready to rock and roll, let me explain to you guys what I am about to do, why I'm doing it, and then I'll show you how I do it. So I'm working on insulating the roof for the soap shack, and we have run into a little bit of an issue, but it's not an issue that we didn't already know about and plan ahead. So, you know, hey, we're using our noggins. So whenever we added the baffles to the top of this, it did its job and it's doing wonderful. They're up there and they're supposed to be there. But since this roof is framed out with 2x4s, which is only a 3.5 inch thickness, these baffles don't leave us really much room to install our insulation, which is what we want to do. We are left with right at 2 inches of depth, which is not enough. Now we could try and force the batt insulation up in here, staple it in place, and let that try and be good enough, but we know that that's not the proper thing to do. You don't want to compress your insulation because when you compress it, you lose your R value. So what I've done is, well, let me go get what I've done. So what I've done off camera is take a bunch of regular 2x4s and rip them in half on my table saw to make 2x2s, or pieces of wood that are 1.5 by 1.5, kind of, you know, square. I then took a fancy piece of scrap plywood, laid it up here on the roof, and marked this angle to transfer that angle to the ends of these boards. What I'm going to do is stack this on top of the rafter or attach it to the top of the rafter, and that will give us the thickness of a rafter we need so the insulation is properly mounted, or at least not squished. It's able to be fluffy. Its fluffiness is retained. However many different ways you can say it. The angle is important. Well, the angle's not in the camera. I'm trying my best with this. I'm on my tippy toes. Yeah, it's a short, whatever, short people. Alright, so the angle is important on this end because it allows it to mount flush against the wall and will give us a good transition to go from wall covering to roof covering. There is still about 3/4 of an inch of a lip here at the wall, which is not a terrible amount, but it is enough to attach our paneling with, so we're good on that front. I think that's about it. Let me go ahead and get some screws out and go ahead and attach these. I cut enough to cover every single rafter, obviously. Alright, one of you guys way out there in YouTube land pointed out that I installed the baffles wrong. I should have overlapped them over top of these existing ones. So, to make you happy, I'll do that with these last 3 sections. And if you stick with us a long time, next 5, 10, 20 years, we'll see if it makes a difference. We'll let you know if we have any roof leaks. I'm just poking fun. You're right. I should have done it that way, but, you know, you get working and you don't get thinking. So, just letting you know, I heard you, I listened, and I'll do it correct for these. There we go. Baffles correctly baffleized in the baffling section. God, friggin' Lee, I just tore my hand open. Gosh. Look at that. Look at that. I ain't got time to bleed. Ow. Skin needs to stay attached. Note to self, don't put your hand against the palm. Wait, your hand is your palm. Don't put your hand against the wall where there's a nail sticking out. Right there, one of the nails are going, and slid my hand down and slid the nail into my hand. So I'll get a hammer and fix that. Make sure I'm not bleeding too bad. Don't want to bleed everywhere. So it totally could be an excuse to stop working. Well, unfortunately, this is the only hammer I can find in here. But that's alright, it'll still work. If you're wondering whose dainty little hammer this is, it is mine. Thank you. It is totally mine. It is drop forged, made in Ireland. I don't know. Didn't know Ireland was a big hammer maker. I guess they're not. This is a little hammer. Whatever. Getting goofy. Maybe it's the blood loss. Getting lightheaded. Woo. You have offended me for the last time. Good go. May seem crazy what I'm about to say. Next thing to do is start insulating the roof. Now I have not done the gable ends or the very far ends of the shed yet as far as adding on the 2x2s and stuff like that, because honestly I don't know how it's going to line up. I don't know how it's going to look, and I'm just going to totally wing that section. It'll be okay. It's not a house. This is a shed conversion. It's a workshop. Shack. Shed. Whatever. So I'm going to go get my mask, and I think that's about it. I'm going to get my stuff together and I'll start busting open some insulation. Ooh. Ooh. What are you supposed to do? Take one out of the middle? Nope. Supposed to cut it open. Welcome to insulating the roof of the soap shack. I'm your host, Batman. you having fun? Ah, good. Me too. Me too. Are you still there? Okay, good. Hi. Alright, I don't know if you can really understand what I'm saying, but I'm not taking all this stuff off to tell you, so listen up real close. I'm done with all the major insulation of the roof. Obviously the gable ends aren't done, but that's going to get a different treatment than what I've done already. What I need to do real quick before it gets too dark on me is go ahead and cut all these little shorty pieces to fill in where the, you know, pre-cut baffles didn't reach. So, let's go! Go, going outside where we can see each other in the not sunshine. I can breathe. No, actually, these masks are really, really good. I use them in the workshop mostly. I mean, 2020 I've used them a little bit more here and there, but really good because they are flexible fabric. They got some, I think they're exhaust ports, and when you breathe out they go pew. So I guess in that case they're not really good for 2020, but good for use around the house. There we go, guys. I'm done insulating the roof and very, very glad to have it done. It went pretty smooth. Actually went really smooth. You know, you never know how things will go when you jump into something, but did pretty good. I'm not itchy, but then again, the only thing that would be itchy are my hands or my legs, because that's, or like maybe through here, because otherwise that's all that was exposed. So yeah, now the trick is to get this sweatshirt off without just covering myself in fiberglass, but that is a skill to be mastered off camera. What we're installing is 24-inch wide, or designed for 24-inch on center rafters or studs, and it is regular fiberglass batt insulation, nothing fancy because this stuff was expensive enough, and it is R13. Now, R13 is not that good for homes, and yes, you want more if you can, but we're working on a limited depth space for this roof or ceiling, and R13 is what we had to go with. Those of you out there gifted with the skill of mathmatology might be noticing that, there are a lot of bags of that really wide insulation in that soap shed, and I'm only seeing him use one. What's going on? Well, I'm busted. I told Angela that I would be happy to insulate her shed if we could get a couple of extra from our workshop. Thankfully, she agreed. All kidding aside, the extras up here are to be taken down to my workshop to insulate the roof, because I have been rocking it for about 5 years with no or very minimal roof insulation. And if she gets something as cool and pretty as this, I'd like to have something that's like half as pretty or cool, right? Okay, so that's why. One other thing you students of studentness are going to be pointing out and probably going to say or wonder, then again, I don't know, maybe half of you are, half of you aren't, or we're going to roll the dice and all of you are or none of you are. I don't know. Let's go and get to the point, Sam. You might be wondering, why is he stapling the insulation to the side of those rafters? He should cover it up. That's the best way to get your vapor barrier. My answer to that would be, yeah, I think so. In general, that is my philosophy with stapling up insulationness. But for this, since we have thin plywood, we're going to be gluing this to the rafters. And I wanted to get as much adhesion as possible. And that kind of goes out the window if you try and glue it to the insulation fabric paper vapor barrier. So that's why. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this part of scabbing on the rafters, stiffening up, beefing up that roof, and insulating the roof of the soap shack. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, see you guys next time on the homestead, or in the shack, or wherever. Take care.